Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to have some Division 20 online ranked gameplay using Tom Aspinall. Now obviously he isn't in the game as of yet and probably won't be until UFC 5, but seeing as he is headlining another event here in London, I thought it'd be fitting to get him as a created fighter and run some gameplay against some of the elite heavyweights. So you're going to see various gameplay clips. I think you've got one against John Jones and Cyril Gane. And then there's two other shorter clips. Can't remember against who. I think one's against Daniel Cormier. So coming up against the best of the best when it comes to the heavyweight division. And quickly before I get into it, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been supporting the content as of recently, liking, commenting, subscribing, supporting the streams and the videos. And thank you for all the content suggestions. I'm going to get round to the Gilbert Burns showcase, Hamzat Chimaev showcase, and the Wanderlei Silva showcase. Also going to try and get some gameplay using some more jiu-jitsu based fighters and try and get some more submission finishes. But also just want to add, if you want to recreate this Tom Aspinall, the link's going to be in the description to Create a Player's YouTube channel. That's where I got this formula off of. The only thing that's slightly different, I think, is the tattoos used and done, and that was done by my girlfriend. I think she's done a pretty good job. Really does look like Tom Aspinall, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. As you know, does it look like Tom? Has she done a good job with the tattoos? And if you like more videos like this, I'll get around to recording more created fighter videos in the future. But you can see having success early on in round 1. It is a 5-round fight, as all fights are in Division 20. And one thing about Tom that's really underrated, which you saw utilised more in his last fight, is the wrestling. I mean, the way he got that takedown, slipping off the counter cross and then taking him down and then getting the Kimura finish was just absolutely beautiful. And you saw against Andrei Arlovsky as well, when he got the takedown and got the finish, he can really mix in those takedowns. And now he's matched up against Curtis Blades in real life, which is going to be fascinating, because I do believe if you want to be the heavyweight champion, you have to beat Curtis Blades. He's a staple piece in the heavyweight division, causes a lot of problems with his wrestling, and mainly it's not even very due to technique. If you really look at how he gets his takedowns, it's just because of the sheer weight of Curtis Blades pushing into you. But I do think Tom will win and then get a potential fight for the title. I do think he's a future champion. He's one of these rare breeds that are coming out in the heavyweight division, like the likes of Cyril Gane, who's been matched up with Tai. And that's obviously going to be another exciting fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how the heavyweight division plans out. But I do think that we are looking at a future champion in Tom Aspinall. I mean, phenomenal jiu-jitsu, great boxing, and great movement for a man of his size. And that's exactly what I was trying to replicate in the game here. Of course, it's very hard to get something similar to the way Tom fights in terms of the movement, the fluidity. It's a problem that Cyril Gane has on this game as well, although Gane feels a lot smoother than my created fighter does of Tom Aspinall. It's still not, the level it should be. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they create Tom in UFC 5, how he feels, because when you watch him fight, so light on his feet, great boxing and great wrestling, and it's his jiu-jitsu that's really a strong prowess. That's exactly what he specialises in, I believe. But getting into the actual gameplay side of things, you can see that I was a very solid round 1. Done very good work there in controlling John Jones on the ground, and that's one thing that I really was looking to emphasize on, was mixing up the shot selections on the feet using crisp boxing combinations and not shying away from shooting takedowns and looking to get submission finishes. Of course, coming up against a John is going to be very difficult. However, you can see that early on I've had success in round 1 and in round 2 also, starting off doing very well with unloading certain combinations. However, whenever you're fighting John, there's always the threat of the offensive wrestling along with the amazing kicking arsenal. And here you can see that John tries to taunt me, ends up getting a leg health event for the troubles, mixing in the axe kick there. When fighting against the John Jones player, you never really know what you're going to get. Go for the uppercut, get caught with the uppercut from my opponent, who done a good pull counter. Something I should have read, but it was just a bit lazy there. And great shot selection from John Jones. You can see John still taunting, trying to get into my head. And the only thing I did notice with this grade fight is that the power just didn't seem to be there. The movement wasn't the greatest, and I know it's heavyweight, but the chin health wasn't the best. So if you are looking to replicate this build, just letting you know in advance that those are some things you may have issues with. As John presses here, trying to break the block and go with the high kick to get a knockdown. Uppercut lands again, and I'm very fortunate that that didn't lead to a stun or knockdown. And John's really trying to control the fight now, throwing the axe kick a lot, which is something that I don't see utilised too much, but the knee there, the elbow, and that was absolutely nasty. Fortunately, do enough to survive. And at this moment, because of the knockdown, the round's definitely gone my opponent's way. I'm just going to look to see out the rest of the rounds, hopefully get into a more advantageous position, maybe look to use some offensive wrestling as well, and look to just let the clock run its course right here, mitigate damage. Don't really want my head health to be gone. As you can see, go to try to take down John. Phenomenal takedown defense from Jon Jones there. Those takedowns are very hard to deny, the turning ones, especially when you're on your opponent's back. Whenever I turn, I often notice that whoever I'm playing has some real difficulty in denying it. So all credit to my opponent for getting that deny off there, keeping the fight on the feet. And you can see that now, I know the round's done, really looking to pressure John here. Great combination there, and again got clipped with that uppercut. Fortunate not to get the stun there, unfortunate for my opponent. Go with a body uppercut there to try drain some of John's stamina, because John's main thing is that stamina and health stats, and if you limit the stamina that John has, it's going to be easier to get some health events off. But not the best round 2, so a very dominant round 1, not the best round 2. Great adjustments from my opponent, even though there was periods within that round that you can see that the combinations were working and I had some level of success. My opponent done very well in getting the knockdown, and when it came to the wrestling wasn't great, but yeah, the knockdown definitely secured the round, and the knees and elbows were posing real problems. So John shoots for a takedown, turned the same way as he did in round 1, so pretty easy to deny that. Got the deny off, and that's good because it's draining some of my opponent's stamina here. And then you can see that Jon Jones being very heavy with that elbow, and rightfully so, because that's the exact thing that caught me in round 2 and led to the knockdown. It was the knee and then the elbow. Avoid the teep kick well there, go to the body. And here's where I noticed that Jon Jones' stamina is not in a good position. Chin health still holding strong, as you can see. Got away from the axe kick, went for the hook, didn't even get a stun off. John's back with the taunting, and here, whenever you're facing someone that does this sort of stuff, it's really just to try and get in your head. So I'm just staying calm, staying composed, because no matter what happens, you know, you can't let the taunting get to you. You've just got to focus on your game plan and look to get your opponent out of there. Duck the head kick there. Roundhouse to the body just to drain some more stamina from John. And you can see that, yeah, right now the fight's flowing in my favour. Good shot selection, which is exactly what you've got to do when you're using Tom. Don't want to overextend. Don't want to be too kick heavy. Predominantly keep it boxing based. However, you've definitely got to filter some kicks into your gameplay, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be very hard. If you're just boxing constantly and not looking to work the legs, it's going to be a field day for your opponent, especially when matching up against someone like John, whose leg health is where the main weakness is at. Duck the head kick again, so John's combinations now are getting pretty, you know, it's pretty easy to tell where John's trying to go. Get the stun there, offloading, get a good leg kick, go for it again. However, John was quick to deny that one. And yeah, pretty much right now the fight is full. I'm an autopilot here and just looking to get a finish, because I can see that my opponent right now really isn't here. He's not really into the fight. You can see that the stamina, just look at the way John's posture is right here. It's just completely non-existent. Rip the uppercut to the body. And now it's all about patience. As much as I want to get my opponent out of here, it needs to be with the right strikes, because John will always pose a threat down to the very last second of the fight, just because amazing submissions, ridiculous knees, ridiculous elbows. and just got a good range of kicks. I mean, the kicking arsenal from John Jones is phenomenal, especially at heavyweight. Get the takedown on my opponent. You can see that that John Jones player was mentally broken. There's nothing more to say about that. You could tell from that third round. Had a big second round, but in the third round you could really see that John Jones just didn't want to be in the octagon with Tom Aspinall. And that would be a phenomenal matchup in real life, as would this. So coming up against Cyril Gane, who is set to face Ty, which is going to be a very interesting fight in itself. Obviously, we saw what happened when Cyril fought another hard hitter when he fought Derek Lewis, and just outclassed Derek in his hometown. Really, wasn't it? It was in Houston. Just was it Houston? Yeah, I think it was Houston. Just outclassed him and caught the teep kick early on, went to the cage and got the turning takedown. And this is very, very crucial because with Cyril Gane on the feet, it doesn't matter who you are in the heavyweight division, you're always going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to just a technical standpoint. I mean, Cyril Gane just flows effortlessly and beautifully in between stances and hits you with a range of kicks, knees, elbows. The Muay Thai on Gane is something really and truly to behold. So using Tom Aspinall, who's a phenomenal boxer and got great wrestling, grappling overall, phenomenal jiu-jitsu, instantly going to look to take this fight to the ground, especially considering we saw how Ngannou had great success in real life against Cyril on the ground. Now, obviously, one thing to note is this isn't real life. In the game itself, Cyril Gane does, off his back, has some sneaky submissions, and if reversed, also has great submissions from the top. So, that being said, still got to treat this very carefully, although I do believe there's a distinct advantage here. And you can see that early on, Cyril off his back isn't providing much in terms of offense, not really not throwing too much transitions out there, wasting some stamina, and at this point, I'm getting off some good deniers. And you can see from the first fight in which I fought that John Jones player that the first round can go great, and then all of a sudden, in round two, something could switch up, and that's just the way the heavyweight division is. It's very unforgiving, just because of the power difference. One shot can really change a fight. So, although this has been a very, very dominant round, good ground and pound thrown, great takedown, 1-for-1. Submission attempt isn't there, but the transitions have been good. You can see that I'm waiting for the right opportunities to transition. I'm not even giving right now Cyril a chance to even deny the transitions because I'm waiting for Cyril to move around, lose stamina, and then I'll have the stamina advantage and then look to progress. So little things like that can really help you in a 5-round fight because when you get your transitions denied, it's not good for your stamina and it's very beneficial for your opponent. Whereas I'm not even giving Cyril the opportunity to deny any transitions here. So great work from round one. And if you are going to use Tom, this is something that I'd look to implement. If you want to strike, by all means, you can strike. Obviously, in terms of the heavyweight division, there's a lot of good strikers. Cyril Gane definitely being the one that poses the most threat from a technical standpoint. But then you've got people like Derek Lewis, Ty, and obviously the champ Francis Ngannou, where the power was just absolutely crazy. And like I said, when using Tom, there was just something about the chin that didn't feel great. But coming into round two, you can see here that my stamina management is absolutely on point. It's exactly where it needs to be. It's virtually exactly like it was in round one, which is a very good sign because if need be to push the pace, I can do it. Great combination there from Cyril. But yeah, checking the leg kicks is going to be very, very important because I was expecting this Cyril Gane player to throw leg kicks in abundance to try slow me down. And also, if you throw a leg kick at the appropriate time, it can get a leg health event. Not only that, it can block takedowns. And with Tom, that's exactly what I look to utilize. When I look to get in those takedowns and just try work my way to a finish, whether it's via ground and pound or submission. Definitely opting for a submission finish. However, if the ground and pound finish is available, then that is exactly what I'll do. Shoot for a takedown here. Great takedown defense here from Cyril Gane. So got the takedown in the first. A lot harder to get the takedown in the second, and a few good knees to the body just to hurt that stamina. Caught the kick because Cyril got overconfident, and now Cyril's on his back again. So one thing when fighting a grappler that you've always got to be wary of is the roundhouses to the body. purely due to the fact that if it gets caught, you can get taken down, or just taken to the fence and then taken down, which is what I always opt for. If I catch a kick, whether it's teep or roundhouse, I'm always going to walk you to the octagon wall, and then look to take you down from there, because when you catch it and just, press circle to take them down, often not is denied very easily, and sometimes you get a knee in the face for your troubles. So I think it's definitely the smarter of the two options is to go for the cage takedown there. But right now I'm in Cyril's full guard, which isn't the greatest because it's quite easy to get reversed and flipped over and swept from this position. My opponent ends up taking my back, which is a very dominant position. It's a position that I've been utilising a lot as of lately. I've learned how to deny the transitions, efficiently, and you can really just keep your opponent there for a while, drain stamina, and then look for a submission. Obviously, the rear naked choke is extremely powerful, especially when the person you're fighting doesn't have a lot of stamina. So that's one thing to look out for, no matter who gets your back. It doesn't matter if they're a submission specialist or not, just because of how strong that submission is. Now that the fight's back onto the feet, you can see that Cyril landed a good roundhouse to the body, caught the kick, looked to get the takedown, and we get the exact same takedown again. This takedown has a very high success rate, and it's why you see that it's my go-to takedown. I always shoot for that takedown because, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people online really struggle to deny that takedown, and you don't want to be wasting stamina going for any other takedowns. You really want to go with what's successful. If it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. So that's the mindset when it comes to the takedown there. And that's one thing that with Cyril, you're going to be throwing a lot of kicks, especially to the midsection. When coming up against a wrestler, as long as you time it well, catch the kick, and you can look to take Cyril down. So that was another, fairly good round, not as good as round one, in which, it was an extremely dominant round. Could argue 10-8. Round two was definitely closer, and round three started off extremely well in getting the stun. And not only did we get the stun, absolutely ripped the body after, go for the head kick, which I do not recommend throwing many head kicks with Tom. Obviously in real life I'm sure he could do a great job, but on the game, yeah, this created fight. I didn't feel very well versed when it comes to the kicking side of things. Boxing felt clean, but yeah, the kicking arsenal really isn't there. I went for the head kick and I'm surprised I didn't get stunned after that. I suppose it's just because my stamina's in a good place and I haven't taken much damage. When you look at my head health's in a very good position, and Cyril right now's head's hurting and done great body work there. After got the stun ripped to the body, of course you've got to be careful when doing that with Cyril because of the knees. If that knee hits you, then could do a lot of damage. And not only that, whenever you go to the body, you've always got to be cautious of uppercuts. But yeah, definitely looking to implement some more shots to the body. Great movement there, and I was really trying to utilize the sways to the left or right to try to replicate how good Tom's movement is in real life. But just with how the system is in this game, it isn't the easiest thing to make movement look super clean. But yeah, I was trying to every now and then sway away from strikes just to replicate how good Tom's movement is, and I think that'll be a huge factor in his fight against Curtis Blades, and I can't wait to see that. It is on July 23rd in London. I'll definitely be attending that, so I'm very much looking forward to that main event. But yeah, as I was saying, the point of trying to move around and mimic how Tom fights is incredibly difficult in the game, just because the movement features aren't the best. I think that's something they definitely need to work on UFC 5. Yeah, you need to be able to move the exact way the fighters do in real life. You can see another good sway there, getting caught with the knees a lot, which is definitely far from ideal, just because of how good Cyril's knees are. My opponent now, every time shoots a big strike, stamina just completely disappears. I go for a takedown here and don't have the success. Cyril does the right thing in standing up, because I was just going to look to get up, take him to the cage, and then take his back. Good knee from myself there, right to Cyril's midsection, looking to drain that stamina even more. Catch the tape, was taking Cyril towards the fence, and then thought, let me just sneak in this elbow, because that's definitely not what Cyril's going to expect. Elbow landed clean, done a little bit of damage. Now, the block of Cyril starting to disappear. the attacks are getting more and more predictable, and the stamina isn't there. So going into round 4, you know, Cyril Gane's pretty much already broken, and therefore the finish, I just need to choose the right time and, you know, just really look to capitalize, go for the takedown early on, because I just figured let's get this fight onto the ground and really look to get a submission or ground and pound finish, give myself enough time on the clock to work with. Advance into an extremely dominant position here. Side saddle is extremely dominant. This is another position that I really like. Feel like I need to make a video talking about more in-depth positions on the ground and why I think, you know, certain positions are the best. I did one earlier on in my YouTube videos talking about which submissions I think are the best and why, and I rated them on a scale of, I think, maybe 1 to 5, but I need to really go over the ground positions. I know the game's towards the end of its life cycle, but I still think it may be beneficial to the vast majority of online players. Right now, just riding Cyril. Sounds a bit weird, but just going wherever Cyril goes and looking to deny the transitions. You can see constantly building up GA, constantly throwing strikes, very active on the ground and looking to pass guard where possible. Of course, that doesn't mean instantly looking to pass. You've got to really be patient, especially when you're fighting, you know, Division 20 players. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. And right there, Cyril does a good job in getting up. So fair play to Cyril there. Goes for the teep, gets caught, and you guessed it, gets taken to the cage, takes his back, and there is the suplex straight into side control. And that's the takedown that always works for me. And I find that, you know, a lot of players just don't know how to deny it. So that's exactly what I'm going to look to utilize. What my opponent really should have been doing is focusing less so on the midsection with roundhouses and teeps and just focusing more on other things. Get Gane's back here and go for the submission finish. And now this submission is also very, very strong. One thing to note is, of course, that my opponent is extremely tired, so there's definitely a stamina advantage going into here, and you'll see whether or not I get the submission finish. But after this gameplay, you're going to have 2 little gameplay clips in where I just show little highlights using Tom. I didn't want to include them in the video just because otherwise the video would have been too long, and I'm cautious that it's already long enough. So yeah, get a great finish there, putting Gane to sleep. Yeah, great fight. Definitely fought against 2 of the better options at heavyweight, using John Jones and Gane. Definitely 2 of the most frequent to come up against. And here we're facing another great fighter. Take him down against the cage, deny a couple transitions, and if I remember correctly, I believe I will be looking for a submission finish. So I did really enjoy using Tom. Yeah, I found it really, really enjoyable. Like I said, the only thing I didn't really enjoy was that his chin felt a little weak. And here's where I was talking about earlier about being dominant on the back. Denied a couple transitions and then go for the armbar rather than the rear naked choke just to mix it up. I've always said that I don't really like using the rear naked choke just because of how powerful it is. And there was a season, I think from season 4 onwards, online that is, that it was just constantly abused by players. So ever since then I've tried to stray away from that. It is something that I definitely need to utilize more though. But this is a submission finish here on Created Fighter, and then the next gameplay clip is pretty cool as well. But as it's approaching the end of the video, I just want to say a huge thank you once again to everyone that's supporting the content, giving suggestions. I see all your suggestions and your comments. I always try to reply. I'm going to be working on a Hamzat fighter showcase, a Gilbert Burns fighter showcase, a Wanderlei Silva fighter showcase. So don't you worry. I've seen all your comments and I will get around to getting those videos out. It may take me a little while just because I've got to get the gameplay, but yeah, I'll definitely be trying to get those videos to you as you see that beautiful flying knee knockout. So yeah, once again guys, thank you for all the support. Let me know if you enjoy these types of videos using Created Fighters. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more UFC 4 content, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.